Welcome back as we shine on football, and you guys know my take. I think the relationship between Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks is broken. So let's take a look here at the list of teams according to Russell Wilson's agent. And he told our good friend Adam Schefter at ESPN that these would be the teams, Dallas, New Orleans, Vegas, and Chicago, that Russell Wilson would in fact be open to going to in 2021 and beyond. So that got us thinking, because we're an opinionated, smart show. What would it take to make these deals a reality? So let's go through what's real, what's fact, what's fiction. And listen, this to me would be the deal for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, let me say this for the record. If I'm Dallas, I wouldn't make this trade. I would keep Dak Prescott. We just told you why. I think he's worth $40 million. I'd keep the 10th overall pick. I'd help the defense. But I'm not Jerry Jones, and I'm not Stephen Jones, and I'm not Mike McCarthy. And these guys clearly don't love and don't value Dak Prescott. And Jerry loves stars, and Russell Wilson is a star. And if Russell Wilson was playing on Dak Prescott's old team with these guys at the receiver and running back position, listen, the Dallas Cowboys, even without that first-round pick in terms of improving the defense, the Dallas Cowboys would win a minimum of 10 games under Mike McCarthy. And this is a hot seat year for Mike McCarthy, and Mike knows that. And I mentioned this yesterday. There's no doubt in my mind, Mike McCarthy loves Russell Wilson. Absolutely loves Russell Wilson. So this to me is real. This to me is something that is worthy of conversation. This to me is something at the end of the day that is definitely up for discussion. And I think that when you analyze the potential of making this kind of transaction, look, Russell Wilson will have a dead cap number of $39 million if, in fact, Seattle trades him. And the only reason why I can't guarantee that they trade him now is because of that number, even though I do think they will trade him before this season for all the reasons we documented yesterday and on prior shows and prior weeks and prior months. But at the end of the day, if, in fact, they draft a player, the Cowboys do at 10 for Seattle, and then they franchise Dak, stay with me here, sign him, and then make the deal after June 1st, they could spread out in Seattle the dead cap money for 2021 and 2022. It would only be $13 million in that range for 2021. I gave you a lot of stuff right there, but yes, it is realistic that the Dallas Cowboys and the Seattle Seahawks could in fact work out a deal that would involve Russell Wilson and Dak Prescott. And that would be a slam dunk and a home run for Seattle. You lose Russell Wilson, he doesn't want to be there, all the jealousy we've discussed, and you get another franchise quarterback and the 10th overall pick and improve the defense of the offensive line. Buckle up, Buttercup. So how about New Orleans? What would it take for the Saints to get Russell Wilson? Listen, the Saints are in cap hell, right? But I also know at the end of the day, we've said that before about New Orleans, and Mickey Loomis and Sean Payton, they laugh in the face of salary cap hell. Listen, Seattle would need 3 first-rounders from them, okay? And I think that's, look, pick 28, so you got to give them a pick at 3 total first-round picks. I think that would have to happen. But Sean Payton, replacing Drew Brees with Russell Wilson with that kind of talent and his mastermind offense, that's a Super Bowl team. I love Jameis Winston. They're not a Super Bowl team with Jameis Winston. And I think Jameis could be a playoff team with Jameis Winston. I'd pick him to go to the playoffs. You put Russell Wilson on this team, I mean, my goodness, that is a Super Bowl caliber team when you look at the New Orleans Saints. The cap scares the hell out of me. The package back for Seattle, I don't think it would be the number one package that they would give up, but that they would be able to get for Russell Wilson. But at the end of the day, I think that when it's all said and done, Sean Payton and Mickey Loomis, they're in the laboratory trying to figure out how to make this happen. Now, in Vegas, it's crystal clear, and this has been the case for years, that I like Derek Carr more than John Gruden and Mike Mayock do. So I think that John Gruden, ever since the agent for Russell Wilson put the Raiders on that list for Adam Schefter, I think that John Gruden's been on a Russell Wilson bender. I think he's been walking the streets of Las Vegas, trying to figure out how in the world do I get Russell Wilson. This deal to me gets it done. Pick 17, 2022 first rounder. Derek Carr, that should be enough, but listen, I think John Schneider could say to John Gruden, well, I want another pick in the second round, and they'd be able to get that done. I think that would be something that they know they would have Gruden over a barrel. If I'm Seattle, I make this deal. Derek Carr, a legit quarterback. There's no question about it. He's a top 16 quarterback. Two types of teams in the NFL. You either have a quarterback or you don't. And, I think at the end of the day that Derek Carr can win a lot of games in Seattle, and they can improve the other areas of need with those draft picks. And here's the deal when it comes to somebody like Russell Wilson and the Raiders. If Russ wants to win a Super Bowl, it doesn't really make any sense. But Russell Wilson, you need to remember this. He loves Russell Wilson. No one loves Russell Wilson more than Russell Wilson. He openly talks how he doesn't have an MVP vote, even though that's garbage, because I'm one of the voters. You only vote for one person. So, and in a given year, it's not like Russ has gotten screwed out of votes. I mean, just hasn't been the number one candidate for MVP. You go to Vegas, Ciara would love it. Raider Nation's omnipresent. He would get so much attention, and no one loves Russ more than Russ. And finally, how about Chicago? I mean, I don't really get it here from a Russell Wilson standpoint, but we put a deal together that to me makes a lot of sense. I mean, I would have to think that at the end of the day, Seattle could get more. But I will say this. If I'm Ryan Pace, I would do anything and everything to get Russell Wilson. The minute you make the trade, Russell Wilson becomes the best quarterback to ever played in the history of the Chicago Bears. Ryan Pace is GMing for his job. Matt Nagy's coaching for his job. Usually that is a recipe for disaster. I gave them a lot of credit for not going and getting Carson Wentz. He didn't fit, didn't have an offensive line. Media in Chicago would have killed them. But to me, this goes back to the Raider buzz theory, right? The Chicago sports fan is great. They got a lot of great teams, a lot of great fans in Chicago. They love their Cubs, Blackhawks, the White Sox, obviously the Bulls are fantastic. But Michael Jordan will be the first one to tell you that even when they were winning all those championships, it was always Bears football, 24/7, all about the Chicago Bears. Russell Wilson would get that love, get that buzz. And for Ryan Pace, he's always going to be known as the GM who passed on Mahomes and Watson and had the ability to go with Mitchell Trubisky as opposed to those guys. Look, at the end of the day, he would change the entire narrative. And don't sleep on what this would mean here with regards to the Bears on the field. The Chicago Bears, if they get Russell Wilson, they could franchise Allen Robinson. Maybe they'd have to give up a good defensive player in that package and that trade potential. They'd be the Green Bay Packers. You put someone like Russell Wilson, who's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, you put him on the Chicago Bears, they can win double-digit games. They can make a push for the Super Bowl. Not that I'm going to pick them, but this is a deal. If you're Ryan Pace, you do anything and everything to get it done.